بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. As we resume this chapter, what is entitled Kitab al-Nikah, by the great Imam Ahmad ibn Ali ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, rahimahullah, who died 852 after the migration of our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The time now is 7:18 p.m., Saturday, December the 14th, 2024? Was it 2020? Am I right? I'm thinking the new year started already. Which is the year which agrees with the Islamic date, which is currently the night, technically in Masjid al-Ahad, the evening of Sunday, Masjid Yawm al-Ahad, the night of the 14th. 14 ليلة 14 من جماد ومن شهر جماد الثانية, the month of Jumad al-Thaniya, which is the 14th night from the Tariq al-Hijri, the year which is 1400 how much? 1446, ahsantu. 46 of the Hijrah, the Message of Allah, after the Hijrah of the Message of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We were discussing the affairs pertaining to what is considered the uyub. You'll find that the heading of this matter is pertaining to different types of affairs of what would necessitate a fasq, as we'll talk about in a minute. Rather, you'll find that some of Ahl-Ilm, they classify this particular sub-chapter, which is in the chapter rather, and I'll discuss this, I'll clarify this in a second, called Fasq al-Nikah bil-Aib, the annulment of the marriage contract due to a aib. The aib is some form of a blemish or flaw or discrepancy or what have you. And you'll find that the Islam gives the person the option, gives the person the khiyar, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to our Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam that in certain affairs of mu'amalat, of dealings, especially in dealings of nikah, of marriage, there are certain matters can be discussed in order for the harmony to take place between both spouses. And it gives the person the option of whether or not the person can embark upon that affair of marriage as a result of some type of blemish or some type of flaw or some type of affair that certain human beings can tolerate, and it's not a big deal. It's not a major affair. As we'll discuss within this chapter in detail, as we'll discuss inshallah, that we advise one another, as far as the brothers and the sisters, not to go too far in these matters. Not to go, when I mean extreme. As soon as you see, for example, she has a mole on this part of her body, khalas, I don't want to be married to you. I don't want you. You understand? Or she has something of or a man similar to that. Because you'll find that, especially here in the West, I call this the inflated ego entitlement society. This type of, if you want to call it superficial society, where everything revolves around what is superficial. Like if it's not this way, khalas, like I'm not dealing with it. Get out my way. Everyone has something of a blemish or flaw that all of us want each other to be patient with. Whether it be something in our character, whether it be something physical, whether it be something within ourselves. All of us have something about us that we want the people to be patient with. Certain things, as we know, brothers and sisters, is intolerable. For example, we already discussed a matter such as the salah. Religious affairs, that can't be tolerated. Person has to be praying their prayers. Certain matters, like we said, they have to be established. Is he? Because the microphone is very sensitive, it picks it up. So those type of matters, everyone, in regards to what is considered flaws, I just keep in mind and to remind all of us not to go so far to the point where if it's certain of a certain matter of a discrepancy, immediately so-and-so is disqualified. I don't want to. So keep that in mind before we start talking about this in detail. So keep in mind that every one of us individually has something about us of a character, a flaw, or something that we want each other to be patient with, whether it be in our character, whether it be in certain matters as far as physical flaws or physical blemishes, or what have you. Similar to the men, with the women, and the women also are patient with the men. So, but however, if a person cannot tolerate it, then don't get involved with it. Give the person an option, and in regards to once the option is made, brothers and sisters, don't now put yourself in a predicament that you thought in the beginning you could tolerate, and then when you get into it, you're like, you know what, I changed my mind. No, you should know that before you get into it. Don't say now, or maybe to my mind, I know I can tolerate it. Maybe perhaps when I get in a relationship, I can change him. Or I can change her. I'll change him. Or I'll change her. The person, they show who you are, they gave you the option. You know in your mind you can't handle it. Don't put yourself in the situation. Because you'll end up oppressing yourself and you'll end up oppressing the individual. So all those affairs we'll discuss when the time comes, inshallah. But I wanted to inaugurate this particular chapter with this type of clarity due to the fact that we said we come from a Western society where people are very, very overinflated in their egos. They have overly entitlement issues. I'm entitled. They're quick to disqualify something immediately. As soon as I don't see what I want it over with. Get out of here. That's the type of society we come from. Not realizing that all of us are patient with each other in some form and measure of who we are as a people, whether it be male or female. So those type of matters, everyone, Islam comes in order to give us the option. Fasakh al-nikah bil-aid. Annulment of the marriage due to a flaw, or aid can mean all these different meanings. As the word aid can mean a flaw, it can mean some type of discrepancy, it can mean some type of affair that a person would consider, if you want to say, kosher within what they accept. As far as in regards to physical traits, whether it be in affairs of akhlaq, or whether it be in affairs of even certain sicknesses, or certain ailments. So the affair of aid is general for all those meanings. Is it clear, everyone? It's general for all of those meanings. So don't think that aid is just something physical. No. Something that's also could be a sickness. A person can come in that option, we'll talk about, inshallah, within a marriage, that certain affairs will take place where a person might have some type of sickness. If they have the sickness, and the person knows that they cannot handle it, as far as the things that it necessitates as far as being patient with, then in the beginning, the person has the option to either say I can handle it, it's not a big deal, or to say I opt out, I can't do it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the affair easy upon that person. So like we said, it classifies of those meanings as we just said. So you'll find that the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though the hadith of what we'll discuss inshallah, the affairs of takhrij, as far as the ilal of the hadith, as far as in the isnad of the chain or what have you, that the chain, even though we could say it has some da'f or some type of weakness, as some Ahl-Ilm mentioned, but no doubt the affair or the meaning of it is correct. The meaning of it is correct. And like we said, these matters we will discuss again, bi'idhnillah jalla. So don't worry. So you'll find this is marra alayna anwa' al-khiyar illa khiyar al-aid. Notice that the chapter, generally everyone, we were discussing the chapter of if this is a sub-type of affair, this is a sub-topic under a wider topic or a general topic. If you go back to the beginning of what we were discussing, Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar was speaking about what everyone? Bab al-Khiyar. Alhamdulillah. يهديكم الله ويصلح بالكم. Notice the major chapter, or the general chapter rather, is discussing whatever you want. Bab al-kafa'ah wal-khiyar. If you turn back to the beginning of the chapter, what does it say? The chapter of what? Choice. The chapter of choice and adequacy. Al-kafa'ah, adequacy and what? Khiyar, choice. This matter of this hadith that we're going to discuss is speaking about what? Which one? Khiyar, choice. So number one, it goes back to what? Khiyar. In addition to what? That the annulment of a marriage can take place due to a what? Due to a aib, due to a deficiency or flaw or what have you. Is it clear? Is it clear so far, everyone? So it is comprehensive for both of those, both meanings. It's comprehensive for both meanings. Connected with what? Choice, the option, and the annulment of what, everyone? The marriage contract. Fasakh al-nikah. Or fasakh aqd al-nikah. Annulment of the marriage contract. Is it clear? طيب. We already discussed the hadith. Zayd ibn Ka'b, I'll read it quickly. عن زيد بن كعب ابن عجرة عن أبيه قال تزوج رسول الله صلوات الله عليه وسلامه العالية من بني غفار فلما دخلت عليه ووضعت ثيابها رأى بكشحها بياضا فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم البسي ثيابك والحقي بأهلك وأمر لها بالصداق رواه الحاكم وفي إسناده جميل ابن زيد وهو مجهول واختلف عليه في شيخه اختلافا كثيرا تنأل عن زيد بن كعب ابن عجرة upon his father Ka'b, the Messenger of Allah married Al-Aliyah, married a Sahabiya. Her name was Al-Aliyah. She was from the tribe of Ghifar. When she entered upon the Messenger of Allah, meaning enter upon here that she came and just normally removed her clothes, for she will wear her normal clothes around her husband. It doesn't mean here intimacy or the marriage, or if you want to say what they call when the marriage has now become what? Consummated. Rather, what is meaning or what is intended that she came upon him in her normal clothes without wearing her jilbab or her covering. So it says, وَوَضَعْتْ ثِيَابَهَا. She removed her garment or put her garment up. It said that the Messenger of Allah sees some type of whiteness, kashh, bayadan, on the part of her body, some type of what? Blemish. Some form of a blemish. So it says here that the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam said, ilbasi thiyabaki. He said, put on your garment and return to your family. And he commanded her that she have what they call a sadaq, or commanded her that she deserves her whatever you want, her mahar, her dowry for the marriage. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not what? He did not consummate, he did not touch her, nor did he do anything. Rather, he did preserve her honor, what have you. Not in contrast to what we'll discuss these days. The man in his mind doesn't like her, still consummates, and then after say, you're no longer married, go back to your family, or it's over. Knowing in your mind you didn't what? You didn't probably like her in the first place. So it's more honorable to what? Do it in that instance than an honor than what? Consummate and then nullify the marriage contract due to the fact that in that moment your desires had taken over, knowing in the back of your mind you truly wasn't what? Interested in the first place. So those type of matters, everyone, we'll discuss, like we said, when it comes. Al-Aliyah, you'll find that they say Alam, that it was a proper name of a Sahabiya. Her name's Al-Aliyah, from the tribe of Ghifar, which was a Qabila Arabiya Ma'rufa. That it said that she removed her garment, وَوَضَعْ ثِيَابَهَا, that she put or removed her garment. So you'll find in Kashh that the word Kashh in the Arabic language means بين الخاصرة والضلع. Al-Khasira is in the area right here. It's like the navel. Well, this is the surah. The surah is the navel. But the khasira is like the waistline, like around there. Like somewhere around the khasira, this is like considered the khasira. Around the waistline. The name was called in the Arabic language surah. Then you have khasira. Khasira is around the waist. And the dila' is the rib. Dila' is the rib. So it's in the area around there, in that part of the body. Somewhere in that area. So you'll find that it says that it was seen bayal, some type of a blemish, which was whiteness. That whiteness is what we know, or what's called what, everyone? I think I mentioned this last class. No, tafaddal. No, good. A baros. But what is the name of it in English? When a person has some type of skin blemish, was white. Leprosy? It's judan. No, what's it called? When a person loses the pigmentation of the skin, where it becomes white.
That's vitiligo.
What do they call it again?
It's vitiligo.
They call it vitiligo?
Vitiligo.
Vitiligo? How you say it?
Vitiligo.
Vitiligo.
Yeah.
Vitiligo. Ahsant. That type of sickness, you'll find that what was mentioned in the hadith was that type. So it's a type of skin blemish. It's a type of deformity of the skin. So you'll find that type of affair, certain matters in which certain people we know can handle it. Certain people, based upon the tiba' or the natural disposition of human beings, certain people can, and certain people what? Certain people can't. So it's better for the person, if they know in their mind that they can't handle something, that they what? They remove themselves from the situation honorably. And bow out the situation, whatever you want, honorably. So notice the message of Allah did not come with any type of insults. He didn't say, look, what's that on your body? Oh, that's ugly. I can't even stand to look at that. Why didn't you tell me that was there? That was something of disgust. That I found all of that is unnecessary. There's no need to mention any of the sort. Is it clear, everyone? The message of Allah, as it says in the hadith, is merely preserved her honor, did not touch her, did not take her virginity, nor any intimacy happen, nor any insults, nor calling out of her name, or anything of the sort, nor anything of abuse, whether it be verbally or what have you. Merely has said, of course, wear the garment and return to your family. So every person, like we said, is different in regards to what could be tolerated of blemishes, discrepancies, or flaws. But that is the hadith in which, like we said, Ahl Ilm classified in this chapter in order to put under it all these different types of affairs that are classified. So, based upon, a person might say, even Ahl Ilm that they say, even from that, the great Imam Ibn Uthaymeen, that he said about this, if we used to apply this hadith upon mustalah, it says you'll find that it has some type of weakness, it's da'if, due to the fact that we know that from the science of hadith, everyone, is that the rawi has to be what? It has to be known. Like the rawi has to be what? Known. Which agrees in the affair which is called what, everyone? Adalah. Adalah. As we know, the 5 conditions for hadith as sahih has to be fulfilled. One of them is what, everyone? Number 1, what is it? Ittisal al-sanad. The chain has to be connected. The chain has to be connected. It can't be some type of inqita'. Any type of inqita', meaning there's a cut in the chain. What's the next one? Does anyone know? What are the 5 conditions of a hadith sahih? Ittisal al-sanad. What's the second? What's the other one? I'm sure that some of you guys have already memorized Bayquniya. What is it?
Precision and narration.
I'll say it to you in 5 in any poetry. What does it say? فذو من أقسام الحديث عدة وكل واحد أتى وحدة أوله الصحيح وهو ما اتصل إسناده لم يشذ أو يعل يرويه عدل ضابط عن مثله معتمد في ضبطه ونقله والحسن خفيف ضبطا إذ غدت رجاله لك صحيح اشتهر. So, اتصال السند, notice it says it's صحيح. اتصال السند has to be void of shudud wa ilal. Has to be void of shudud, of an affair that's shadh. Shadh. It cannot be weird, meaning in which the rawi had opposed the narration of those who are reliable, either the person that's more reliable in their narration or more in number of those who are also reliable. If he opposes that, it's called shadh. Shadh. It has to be free and void of hidden weaknesses, and it has to be the adala of the rawi, meaning the uprightness of the narrator in regards to his methodology, of course, was aqidah. We'll talk about that. It has some details in it. And he has to have precision. And he has to have dabt. So which one of these narrations, or which one of these conditions, rather, everyone, does this apply to? In order for a chain to be connected, the narrator has to be what? Known. Here in the chain, the narrator is not what? Known. Based upon that, if the narrator is not known, then the chain is considered what? Considered disconnected. Because we don't know the narrator. Due to the fact that it's called what they, in mustalah, jahala. Jahala al-rawi. Jahala meaning the narrator is not known. No one knows who he is. So the narrator is majhul. We have to know who the narrator is. And we know that that has also certain exceptions. In mustalah, such as if we know that the narrator is a sahabi. If he's a sahabi, then the narration or the chain is still considered, it is still mahmul ala al-ittisal. We'll talk about that later. Even if the narrator is considered a companion of the Message of Allah, even though the name hasn't been mentioned, it's still considered connected in the chain. Because all of the companions of the Message of Allah are udul, all of them. But in the other part of the narrations, other narrators, and there's certain exceptions to that too. But generally, it's the qa'idah in most cases that if the narrator is not known, the chain is considered what do we want? Disconnected. And like we said, to every qa'idah has a few little exceptions to the rule. So you'll find that we mentioned the narrator in the chain is majhul. Majhul meaning is not what? No. It's not known. Also, you'll find that they say, if you notice Al-Hafid ibn Hajar, if you look in the Takhrij, what does it say? It said it was different upon the Shaykh of who? Rawah al-Hakim with Jamil ibn Zayd. Jamil ibn Zayd is the one who's what? If you look at your book, what does it say? Is it in the English too? Did they write that in there? They didn't put it in the footnote? No, I'm talking about the translation.
Yes, it's in the translation as well.
Oh, it is in there?
Yes.
What does it say, Zayd?
In his chain of narrators is Jamil bin Zayd, who is majhul. There is also a great difference of opinion as to who was his sheikh.
Exactly. So you'll find of another affair, mustalah, which is called ittirab. That the hadith is muttalib. Muttalib. Ittirab, everyone, means, it says, يكون عندك عدة الطرق متساوية في القوة. متساوية في القوة. You have numerous chains, or what have you, and they're all equal in their what? In their quwwah, as far as in the magnitude of how strong they are. They are all mutasawiya fil quwwah. All of them are strong in regards to what? All of them are equal in regards to how strong they are. ولا يمكن الجمع الترجيح بينها. You can't now come with a chain where you can now say that one is more authentic than that one. You can't gather between them, nor can you say that one is stronger. That in the narration in Mustalah al-Hadith is called muttalib. It's called muttalib. Is it clear, everyone? Based upon what you'll find of with the great Imam al-Hafid ibn Hajar that he mentioned in regards to this, what did he say? What did he say, everyone? He said, وَاخْتُلِفَ عَلَيْهِ فِي شَيْخِهِ اِخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. It was different upon him, meaning the Shaykh of who? Jamil ibn Zayd. A major what? Difference, or a great difference. However, you'll find that Ahl al-Ilm, they say, even though the chain specifically here, or this particular chain, could have some type of da'if in the sanad in the chain, but is it da'if as far as in the what? in the matan. As far as in the actual text itself. You'll find that Ahl Ilm, when they investigated these narrations, everyone, not only do they investigate the chain, but they also investigate what? The text. They scrutinize the chain, and they also investigate and scrutinize what? The matan, the text, also. And you'll find that there are evidences that also testify to the authenticity of this narration that we're discussing now. So, which we'll discuss, like we said, when the time comes. So, even though the chain, or this particular chain specifically, and I'll also read others in which some of that they may say, or what they say concerning this narration, don't worry. But however, this particular narration of the Prophet ﷺ, even though this particular chain might be da'if, but there are other chains. Especially as we know also mustalah. If the da'f or the weakness in the chain is not severe, then it could be repaired by other chains that their weaknesses are also what? Not severe. Is it clear, everyone? It can be repaired, meaning strengthened, by other chains which is severity or the weakness in it is not severe. So, jahalat al-rawi, a person might ask, due to the fact that a narrator is not known, is that considered a severe weakness in the chain? Or is it considered severe or not? Is the da'f khafif or is it shadid? Is it light or is it considered something that is what? Fahish. Is it something that is great as far as in its weakness? What it is in mustalah, jahalat al-rawi is considered from al-da'f al-khafif. وقد ينجبر بإسناد آخر وبطريقة وبطريق آخر. That as far as in the chain, in regards to the narrator not being known, it can be repaired by another chain. So, in this instance, this type of narrator, or this type of weakness, which is called jahalat al-rawi, is considered what? A light weakness. Is it clear, everyone? It's considered a light weakness. The severe weaknesses we'll discuss. There's a lot of severe weaknesses in regards to, for example, hidden weaknesses within the chain, or fahish al-ghalat, or what they call a person that is, or shadh. Those weaknesses are considered what? Are severe. But here in this instance, in regards to this particular narrator, who's not known, this could be repaired by another what? By another chain. So it can repair it, meaning it can strengthen it. And it can raise it to the level of where it's considered from the affairs that are accepted in the narrators of the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person might ask, why are we discussing these affairs? We discuss them, everyone, due to the fact that this is how Allah protected religion from being changed. In regards to what happened to the Jews and the Christians, they don't have this science anymore. They don't, rather they don't have it at all, They don't have it. Rather, anyone can narrate, lie, change, and no one would know the difference. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserved the final message to humanity was by this science in which it was utilized in order for the religion to be protected from the change and from the intent of those who have evil intent to try to change the light in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down. That one of the reasons why the authentic prophetic narrations of the message of Allah was preserved was due to this type of science. This type of science, when I say science, I mean by the knowledge. This type of knowledge of hadith, in which you'll find that Ahl Ilm, they know the narrators of the chains. They know their histories, their backgrounds, and they know who they narrated upon. To let you know that Allah preserved this religion, and that it's still intact, rather it's in the manner in which no one can come and change it. Rather you'll find narrators that embraced Islam when they seen how the religion was protected, when they attempted to try to change it, and they got exposed immediately. Immediately they were exposed. To let one know that no one could come and change Islam, and no one could come in the form of the guise to trick the people, except that Allah will immediately expose the person. Either by someone who knows the knowledge, they will come, or Allah will have His junud, His soldiers, from those who are upon what is correct, and immediately come and expose their what? Their nonsense. That's the reason why the hadith becomes يحمل هذا العلم عن كل خلف عدول ينفون عنه تحويل الغالين وانتحال المبطلين وانتحال الجاهلين. As it comes in the narration, يحمل هذا العلم عن كل خلف عدول ينفون عنه تحويل الغالين وانتحال المبطلين وتحويل وانتحال الجاهلين. That every knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hadith is also Hasan, that there will be every generation in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow the knowledge to be carried by those who are udul, who are upright. They will defend the religion from who? Intihal al-mubtilin, tahrif al-ghalin, wa intihal al-mubtilin, wa ta'wil al-jahilin. That's the narration. He says, they will remove from it, meaning protect it and defend it, from the impersonators of those who say they're people of the truth, but they're not. They will expose them. Or the false discrepancies of those who try to come with false meanings and false interpretations of the religion. Tahwil al-ghali, of those who go beyond the bounds and they fall into distorted change or interpretations or meanings. And intihal. And the word intihal means to impersonate. It means someone that looks like you, sounds like you, but they're not from you. They're on something totally different. Intihal or muntahil means to impersonate. يتلبس بلباس الحق or يتلبس بلباس أهل الحق. They'll try to come and wear the garment of the truth or wear the garment of the people of the truth. And those who will come with the proper knowledge and also defend the religion, where it says in the last part, انتحال المبطلين والتأويل الجاهلين. And of course, from the different types of interpretations or the false type of notions of those who are ignorant come with. Those who are ignorant, jahili. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always Allah will always bring some from the people and raise from amongst them people who are upright and expose the plots of people who come to impersonate or people who come with some evil in order to misguide the Muslims and utilizing the religion in order to do it. From that is in this science of hadith that we just mentioned. We just gave you some examples of it. Notice that in order for a hadith to be accepted upon our Prophet ﷺ, conditions have to be fulfilled. Conditions have to be fulfilled, and you'll find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a sign basically in this particular hadith here, in your books. It's right there. It says that the hadith is what? Has some weakness in it. But there are other chains of narrations that also testify to its what? Just authenticity as far as in the meaning that affirms it. So, and that's in regards to what everyone, just to touch on somewhat the takhrij of the hadith. طيب. So it says that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam married al-Aliyah. Oh, excuse me. Okay, go back to it. Al-Aliyah. It says that the garment of al-Aliyah radiyallahu anha, which shows that the woman can undress herself in front of her husband, of course. And that is no problem. For it's everyone, as far as in the spouses of the husband and the wife, of course, permissible for one to look at each other and to look to their bodies. Which necessitates, of course, that before that, it's not permissible. It's not legalized. And when we say it's not legalized, we mean with Allah. So keep in mind, everyone, the affairs revolves around affairs of what pleases Allah or affairs that angers Allah. A person doesn't give the creation credence or precedence over the creator. The person always looks for what pleases their Lord first. Because I know that I'm going to be held accountable on the day of resurrection when these affairs are presented to me. And that Allah asks me. In regards to what? The most tedious of affairs, which is building your families and your structure your families upon, which are very sacred. And those affairs need to be built upon something that's correct, in which you want our Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless. You don't want to establish a family based upon something unblessed. You do not want to do that. You'll have some very severe regrets later on if Allah allows that affair of Tawbah to be inspired within yourself. You kick yourself in the behind later on. Like, what was I thinking when I put myself in that predicament? So it's better for the person to what? Rectify it now and not do it at all before the hole gets deeper and deeper And then one day you might wake up out of that hole and realize, what was I doing? And then kick yourself in the behind as a result of it. Is it clear, everyone? So those are the affairs that what? That the Messenger of Allah ﷺ had established in regards to this narration, that a woman to her husband can remove her what? Her garment. And let him see her body or whatever. طيب. So we know that the Messenger of Allah also, alayhi salatu wasalam, used to wash with our mother Aisha radiallahu anha from one container, and their hands will be within that same container, washing each other, while one was looking at the other while they were what? Undressed. While they were undressed. So it's permissible for the wife to look at the husband can look at the what? At the wife. Is it clear, everyone? Fine. But the affair that we wanted to discuss, like we said, was considered the blemishes, the flaws of nikah. This affair of what they call uyub al-nikah, the flaws of nikah or blemishes or what have you. This brings in the affair of the chapter initially of what the topic of why Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar put it or classified it in the chapter in the first place. Which brings about what they call a khiyar, a choice. Is it clear, everyone? Brings about a khiyar. Tuthbitu al-khiyar. If one of the two spouses, they have the aib. They have the aib. The aib, like we said, can mean what? A blemish. It can mean a flaw, or it can mean some form of a discrepancy. Whether it be in physical, whether it be in one's health, or whether it be mental, or what have you. Is it clear? طيب. So, the affair revolves around, if you look in the hadith, everyone, if you look in your books, that what is binding upon a person, that if there's some type of discrepancy or flaw or blemish or what have you, whatever it be, it's incumbent upon a person in that instance to be what? Truthful. Do not hide it. Is it clear, everyone? Similar to that in sales transactions, the same exact thing. That merchandise could be returned if the owner of it did not clarify it's what? It's discrepancy that's in it. That's permissible for the customer in our chapter of sales transactions to return the merchandise, due to the fact that the sales clerk did not clarify what was wrong with it. If they didn't clarify what was wrong with it, they knew, of course, the owner knew clearly there was something wrong with it. It could be returned, the merchandise could be returned, and also the affairs of money also could be returned. All that, inshallah, we will discuss, inshallah, in another way. But at any rate, so what we're speaking about in regards to this type of affair, in marriage, the same thing applies. If something is of some type of blemish, deformity, or sickness, the person has to let the individual what? Know. Let them know. Don't take away a person's what, everyone? Choice. Don't do that. Deceit is very what? It's very hurtful when a person, you find out you've been deceived. Or a person was doing something shiesty and they didn't tell you. Us as Muslims, we deal with people of how we would want to be what? Dealt with. And just as you've been tested by being deceived, by you deceiving someone, Allah will more than likely test you when someone will what? Deceive you. And usually when you testify, it might be more worse. You understand, everyone? So everyone wants to treat someone according to how you want to be what? Treated. So, in that particular instance, one should disclose to the individual what type of discrepancy they have. If you think it's a discrepancy, and I think it's clear. If that case comes out, and it's exposed and it's disclosed, in that instance, the person has the choice. I can say, I can handle it. It's not a big deal. Or they can, if they now in the marriage and the person didn't disclose it, of course, they have the right to now, what everyone, say, I want out. Especially if it comes out that they were hiding it. You understand, everyone? Because that's some form of what? Deceit. Some form of deceit. So, uyub is a lot, everyone. Like we said, you can't classify. I don't think we have time to speak about everyone. Every one of them, or every example. It's a lot. But generally, just to go back, it goes back to every affair, of course, that we think that will have some form of a great impact upon a marriage, generally. And that could be a lot of things. You understand, everyone? But the biggest affair is that everyone should always be what, as we mentioned, and we emphasize this affair, be truthful. Be truthful. If you saying I could spend certain money in order to take care of a sister or a wife, say what's in your ability. Do not lie. Because if it comes out you are lying, the woman now has the right to ask for a divorce. She does. If it comes out that he didn't fulfill his promise, he said he could do this, but then now all of a sudden there's some dilly-dallying and there's some back and forth. It's like, Akhi, at the end of the day, why don't you just say you was what? This is what you can do. And if you would have been truthful, I could just what? I would have just told you. I could deal with it. It's not a big issue. But now when you're coming out, you're lying, and now you're playing games, that's when people become upset. So those affairs, like we said, everyone, just be what, everyone? Be truthful. So, in that instance, so those type of affairs, what they call uyub, blemishes, now we're going to speak about what's pertaining to the male before we talk about the female. We'll talk about that in a minute. But both of them share between them of what can come as a result of it, of what they call choice, al-khiyar. Especially if the person did not know prior to the marriage contract or before the marriage contract. Is it clear, everyone? طيب. From the uyub, and this is just examples, from them is from them it could be a certain affairs as far as what they call al-afal fi zawja or ratq. Matter of fact, I'll just mention it quickly. So before we enter into these affairs, I want everyone to be mature. I don't want to start giggling and laughing, ha ha, he, ho, ho. Let's all be what we want. Let's all be mature. Is it clear? I want everyone to be mature. I don't want no giggles, laughs, or some type of innuendos that necessitate some form of mockery. Is it clear, everyone? So let's all be mature before we enter these matters and mention them in detail. So certain matters, of course, it says al-baras, or what they call that skin disorder. How you say it again, Zayd? Vitiligo. Vitiligo. You have 3 people saying it at once. Vitiligo. Vitiligo. Good. Some form of a skin disorder was called vitiligo. A person might say in regards to sexual, yes, that also can necessitate it. We'll talk about that. Al-unna. Al-inni. The ulama do mention that. That if the man can't do it, and he's hiding it. And those listening online also be mature, because some people, women start getting and laughing. We're being serious here. Be mature. Let's be serious and let's be what everyone. Mature. Also, what they call al-ratq or al-afal in regards to certain affairs where the woman's private part has been tampered with in regards to certain cultures that they take off the clitoris or what have you, and certain affairs that's pertaining to that. So you'll find that those affairs, for example, that might prevent or prohibit intimacy. If those affairs happen, then they have to what, everyone? Disclose it. Absolutely. Is it clear, everyone? They have to disclose it. You even find the great Imam Sheikh Salih Fawzan, he mentioned this. He says, وغير ذلك من العيوب التي تمنع النكاح وتنفر أحد الزوجين من الآخر فالعيوب تثبت الخيار للزوجين. He said the blemishes that prevents nikah, where it would allow one of the 2 spouses, of course, not to be involved or have that involvement or inclination with the other. Those type of blemishes, of course, affirm what it affirms the khiyar. And like we said, these type of affairs can get deep. It'll get deep, and I think that a lot of us can know the examples of it. Whether it be, like we said, deformities within the physical, and even in the affairs of what's considered behavioral. Behavioral. Of what a person might have of a sickness that he has to take medicine, or she has to take what? Medicine. To keep herself mentally what? Grounded or sane. They have to disclose these matters because it affects the what? The marriage. And certain people know if they do not take their medicine, they become violent. They become violent, or they lose their sanity, or what have you. These affairs have a major impact upon the what? The marital relationship. These affairs have to be known, and they have to be what? Disclosed. If they're not, then these things can earn the disqualification, or if you want to say the annulment of the marriage contract. Fine. So in this particular narration, that the message of Allah, even though the marriage was disqualified or was discontinued rather, due to this particular ailment, that's not only specific for that ailment, any type of ailment, for that matter. If it has some type of impact on the marriage, or what have you, then the person has to let that individual what? Let them know. Is it clear, everyone? They have to let them know. If they do not say it and they find out later on after the marriage contract, that can necessitate a what? An annulment. It can necessitate a marriage annulment of the marriage contract. It can necessitate fasakh. طيب. Excuse me, everyone. Before we go into the next matter, before we close out on this one, notice that we talked about, I think we stopped at this last class. I mentioned this before. We stopped it momentarily, or we stopped it for that period of time. What's pertaining to what they call al-fadh sariha fi talaq, or what they call kinayat an talaq. You have what they call frank wording in regards to what? Divorce. Then you have what they call kinaya an talaq, meanings or wordings that can necessitate a divorce. Or what is a frank wording is what? It's clear. That so and so, I what? I divorce you. Or anything similar to that. You are what? Divorce. Or I what? Those type of affairs are what? Frank. I'm done is not, that's not clear. To me, that's kinaya. I'm done. I'm done can mean a lot of things. You understand, everyone? It can mean I'm done as far as with certain affairs, as far as the tolerance level with certain things, or what have you. That's something different. Unless the person in that particular moment, as you'll find, we'll talk about the second category, which is called kinaya anit talaq. Words that can necessitate talaq. What's investigated to the individuals to ask, what did you intend when you said that? Did you want to end the marriage? Or what you intended was that you're, for example, disgusted with the situation or whatever. That's what's investigated. You'll find that the kinaya, or the second category, one has to be asked, what did you intend when you said that? Is it clear, everyone? Because it's not frank. Like this situation is over, for example. What did you intend by that? That the marriage is over between you and your wife? You understand? If the person says yes, it's a what? It's a talaq. Is it clear? So it's investigated, the kinayat. So those type of kinayat, in this particular hadith, if you look in your book, everyone, what does it necessitate? Which one is it speaking about? What's frank? Oh, you think is what? Kinaya. It's kinaya. So the Prophet ﷺ said what? Or it says in the narration that he said what? Wear your garment and return back to your what? Or join your what? Join your family. Ilhaqi bi ahlik. So, this particular instance, this was a kinaya and a talaq. And it was understood as it was. It's understood that the Messenger of Allah was divorcing her. Divorcing her, and like we said, he honored her in this narration because he did not what? He did not touch her, nor did he what? Consummate with her, nor did he call her out her name or insult her or beat her self-esteem down or what have you. He didn't do anything. Is it clear, everyone? Before the actual affair of marital affairs had taken place. So, this type of narration, as we mentioned, everyone, notice it says, he said, join your family or return to your family. And in addition to that, not only did he honor her in that particular affair, he still commanded that she have a what? What does it say in the narration? He commanded that she be given her dowry. So he didn't what? He didn't touch her, didn't consummate with her, and he also commanded that she be given her what? Her marital dowry. Her mahar. Even though he didn't touch her. In order to what? To honor her. In order to show her respect. So in that instance, that's what we wanted to what? Mention about the affairs, what they call al-fadh al-sariha fi talaq. Words that are frank and when you utter divorce. And I think that's clear. That's for the man. Is it clear, everyone? That's for the man. The man, the hands of talaq all go back to the man, even in khula'. Even if a woman asks. The man still has to what? He still has to agree to it. He has to agree to it and say, yes, it's granted to you. So those type of affairs, like we said, everyone, the matters pertaining was pertaining to khula', and I'll talk about that later because it's going to come, inshallah. Those matters are frank of the words, and we know that it's also a decorum and a system to it. What are the systems for divorce, everyone? What's the system that he has to what? Wait. Well, number one, he can't be what? Intimate. He has to be in a period of time frame he was not sexually intimate with his wife. Is it clear? Number two, she cannot be having her menstrual cycle. Is it clear? She cannot be on her menstrual cycle. No matter how many times I've said this, and we've been saying this in Dallas since the 90s, people still do it. And people realize that if you was in an Islamic court and it was raised to the judge, he could issue some form of punishment to teach you a lesson. That you're not to not fall into this affair of divorcing your wife while she's mensing. Is it clear, everyone? So that's number two. He has to wait, and it has to be in a time frame where she's not on a menstrual cycle, that she menses, and then it what? She becomes what? Purified. She becomes purified from her mens. And in that instance, if the affair necessitates a talaq, he would just utter it one time. He will utter it one time and say, you are divorced. That simple. Is it clear, everyone? So it can't be in a time frame where you were what? Intimate. Nor it can be in a time frame where you what? Where she was mensing on her menstrual cycle. Tafadal.
Briefly, what is the time period for that you can't be intimate with her if you were going to divorce her?
What do you mean, as far as the time frame, as far as intimacy?
Yeah. So, like the day before, you can't have been intimate with her for a month before, or
it depends on her mens.
Okay.
If she was in a time, for example, let's just say a man was intimate with his wife. Of course, it's during the time where she was more than likely not mensing, inshallah. Unless it was other things, and you know what I'm talking about. I think people understand when I say that. Other than actual vaginal sex. Is it clear, everyone? Play. And that's how I have to discuss also. But first thing, during the time of purification, if he was intimate with her. If he was intimate with her, let's just say 2 days ago. Like something happened. So now, okay, something happened this week. We were intimate 5 days ago. So now he have to wait until when?
The next month.
The next month.
Exactly.
You have to wait till the next month. Is it clear? Her menstrual have to come on, and then what? Go off. Then there would be 3 iddah. 3 periods, what they call an iddah. 3 menstrual cycles, which is an iddah. 3 menstrual cycles. I think we talked about this last class. Not 3 months. I think that's a wording. 3 menstrual cycles. Is it clear, everyone? 3 menstrual. ثلاثة قروء. قروء. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word qara'. Qara' means haydah or hayd, or means a menstrual cycle. So the affair revolves around what? The menstrual cycle. Even if it's what, everyone? Even if it's irregular. A person might say, well, she has an irregular menstrual cycle. You have to wait. So she don't give a mens for example, she might get a mens that's irregular every 2 months, 3 months, what have you. You gotta wait. So that means I can use the months, right? Because she only gets 1 mens every 2 or 3 months. Nope. You have to wait until her mens goes on, and then what? Goes on. A person might ask, can she take some form of remedy or herb or whatever to regulate it? Yes, she can. Absolutely. Yes, she can. If it aids in regulating her menstrual cycle, then absolutely she can. But the affair, the illah, yadur, or they say, tadur al-illah, bayna wujudihi wa adamih, or bayna wujudiha wa adamiha. The affair revolves around of the mens, whether it's what? There or what? Not there. If it's there, the affair what? Of what we just mentioned started. Person pronounces talaq. He waits, until she becomes purified, and then what? Then he pronounces divorce. A person might say, well, it's irregular. I've been waiting now for 2 months, 3 months, so that means I can use the months now. No, you can't. Is it clear? You can't. As long as the woman has a menstrual cycle, you have to what? You have to wait. The affairs of months, the word month, like a month, only revolves if she does not have a mens, but at all. At all. Either due to her being what? She could be a young woman, she hasn't reached have a mens yet, or an elderly lady, an elderly woman that's reached what they call sin al-yats, where she's reached menopause, or she doesn't get a mens at all due to her being elderly, or out of qiyas, what they call an analogy, if she has some type of what they call removal of her reproductive organs, what they call the hysterectomy. If she had a hysterectomy, that's when she can use the what? The months. 3 months. Because she does not have a what? A mens at all. Is it clear? Is it clear or is it not clear? Good. طيب, so let's read a couple of things and we'll stop, inshallah. طيب. So the Prophet ﷺ also commanded that she have her sadaqah given to her marital gift, which is called that dowry. You'll find that certain people will say that could be established if consummation had taken place. This is downstairs. Consummation had taken place. But the message of Allah, of course, it says the أن الرسول دخل بها وضعت ثيابها عنده فإذا دخل الزوج بزوجته ورأى منها ما لا يرى غير الزوج فإنه يتقرر له المهر كله لما استحل منها. In this instance, you'll find that they say in regards to what? Or what has been. The sadaq in which the Messenger of Allah had given or commanded that be returned back to her. It said that she put her garment up, but however, a person might ask, what is it that necessitated a iddah, or what is it that necessitated a dowry? What is it? Good. Khalwa. The fact that he was what? He was alone with her. And not only that, he's seen her without what? He's seen her without her clothes on. Or without her normal wear or her attire. Or what is permissible for a man to see. Her husband, of course. Those affairs would necessitate a what? A iddah. Being alone with a woman who's not of course, your family members, or have you, but a woman that's considered a ajnabiyya, alayk. A woman that's not lawful for you to be around, unless, like we said, it was in the boundaries or the confines of a what? Marriage contract. Now, in that instance, that you're alone with the person, that can necessitate what? What it can necessitate, everyone? A iddah. Can necessitate a iddah. Also, the affairs of the dowry can also be what? Given to her. And I'll talk about that in detail. Some other details in regards to that I'll mention, inshallah. And some other details in regards to that. طيب, al-khulasa, what we want to just now gather between all of this, there's some other things I wanted to discuss, but we'll suffice because it's going over the hour time frame. The khulasa, what? Al-fasakh. Just to summarize everything, what we would now mention, that an annulment of the marriage contract can be made as a result of different types of flaws in blemishes or any types of forms of discrepancy that has a major impact upon the marital relationship. Like we said, certain things could be what? Tolerated, and certain things cannot be what? Tolerated. There's certain affairs that, as we discussed probably for the past year, that can't be tolerated. For example, a person pertaining to affairs of not praying at all. That's something that a person cannot what? Tolerate. That should not be tolerated at all in a marriage contract or a marriage at all. It shall already be established that the person religiously is abiding by the religion in regards to the five salawat al-khams, the five prayers and things that's pertaining to it. And in other affairs that's pertaining to aqaid or pertaining to aqidah and belief system and methodology. Those type of affairs have a major impact on what, everyone? On the marriage. A person's belief. Because I've heard stories in Philadelphia from the past more than 20 years of giving dawah here, some very weird, strange things. A sister was married to a husband, he don't even believe that Allah is up above. I'm like, you married to him? I'll flee away from him. You understand, everyone? But what's her excuse? He paid all my bills. So you gave the dunya over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you think Allah's going to bless you in that situation? Because he has a belief that angers Allah. Is it clear? Also in regards to certain affairs, sister is Sufi. Or you'll find that she involved in affairs of tasawwuf, grave worshiping, making dua to the dead, and all those other different types of major discrepancies that cannot be what? Cannot be tolerated. A person is upon that type of affair. A person, if they have any jealousy and love for Allah and His Messenger, and love for the religion, immediately they would be what? Appalled. I'm not marrying a woman like that. Knowing a woman that's going to marry, say, I'm not marrying a man like that either. I don't care if he was the richest person in the dunya. I'm not marrying a man like that. Because ultimately the affair is about the hereafter. It's not all about what? The dunya. It's not all about this world. I want to put what pleases Allah first over what pleases the people and pleases my so-called relaxation. Like, so those type of affairs are major matters. So those affairs cannot be what, everyone? Cannot be tolerated. Is it clear? We could go on as far as these type of examples of aqaid and manahij, or affairs of the arkan of the religion. طيب, a person might ask, what about nafaqah, and spendings and earnings? Absolutely. Absolutely. Woman can now ask, okay, what can a man spend? This is why I tell brothers to always be what? Truthful. Let's be truthful. What can you do? Tell a sister I can do this per week and be honest. I could start off, let's just say, due to our, our youngsters in the community. Some of our youngsters, of course, would say, for example, I could give $150 a week. Let's just say. For example. And that will cover, like we said, for her food, certain clothes or needs she might have in the house or what have you, due to the fact that we just married recently and we're still living with our parents, let's just say, for example. For example, a person might say, this is realistic? Yes. Yes, this is what's going on in our communities now. Yes. Just the mere fact that a person might say, well, why marry him? Why not marry him? You want him to fall into zina? Because that's what's going to happen. And Allah knows best. They're going to fornicate. We live in a filthy, disgusting, Western, satanic, sexed out, filthy society where sex is around them all day long. What do you think they're going to do? You understand? What we're trying to do is protect what? Protect them from falling into what angers Allah. Falling into fornication, falling into all types of filth with their private parts. We're trying to protect them. And a person might find that even in my community here, I try to be real patient with a lot of the youth here. And I find it very, very honorable that a young youth, 16, 17, these days and times come to me looking for marriage. That's honorable. I want to kiss them on the forehead. Because now these days, these youth don't even want to get married. They're like, married? Really? You understand? So a youth coming in, 17, 18, 19, 20, saying that I want to get married, I want to fear my Lord, I want Allah to bless my relationship, bless my situation, bless my life. And they come to me with these type of affairs, I want to kiss them on the forehead. Because it's seldom that I find that a youth wants to come and wants to take on that responsibility and that man. Due to the fact that all the doors of evil that's open for them is facilitated for them to attain easily if they want it. You understand, everyone? So, نقدر المفاسد بقدرها. So the affairs of evil, we measure it according to what we can now put off. A person might say, what's ideal? What's ideal is, of course, that someone 18 or 19 to have enough money in order to take care of their own household. That's what's ideal. That's what we want. Want a man to come in, step up, pay the bills, make sure his wife is fine. And similar to that, we want the wife to also put forth her great effort in the marriage. It's not all about the man. That's something I'll talk about later too. It's not all the man has to put out, and the woman just sitting around looking at the roof and trying to figure out what to do next. You understand? That's also, I'll talk about that later. I'll speak about that, don't worry. But at the same time, the men and the youth that's coming in or coming up and they want to marry, let's just say they're staying with their parents at the time. And like I said, I see that the children or the youth that want to come now and marry each other, that's something honorable. So we need to what? Aid them in that. If the parents have to now even allow them to live with them, each other, the daughter and the son with the parents in order to aid them, to protect them from falling to zina. But still at the same time, we have to be what? Model. The men still have to be taught some form of what? Responsibility. You can't just give them out, oh, you ain't got to do nothing. No, men have to be taught some form of what? Responsibility. You're still a man at the end of the day. So that type of affair still enough. Okay, what can you give? What, everyone? $100 a week, 150, 17, 18, this is what I can do weekly. Is it clear? Just be honorable, be respectable, be honest. Do not say to the family or to the female something you know in your mind you cannot do it consistently. And I'm getting tired of certain men that tell me this, well, I just did in my mind what I could do at that moment. No, you know in your mind you can't do that consistently. You delusional in regards to your false dreams you're trying to sell to somebody. No, this is what you can do weekly or on a consistent basis. Stick to that. So it could be done consistently, and when a person sees consistency, that builds up their what? Their confidence for you and their respect for you. Oh, he's doing it consistently. Alhamdulillah, even though it's not, I mean, it's 100, 150 a week, but he's being what? He's being consistent with it. You understand? Consistency is what's honorable and respectable. When you see a person not being consistent, people kind of lose, yeah, they might do it, they might not do it. You understand? Consistency is what builds up the confidence of you with the people. When you lose that consistency, that's when it becomes a joke. You understand? And it's just a mere facade now. Even though you might be using social media to do other things, but everybody knows the truth, really. You understand? You understand, everyone? So those type of affairs that I said, and what we're mentioning, be truthful and be honest. Is it clear? Be truthful and honest in these type of affairs and these type of what? Matters. And people will respect you. And you'll gain your confidence and respect from your spouse. Even if it's something small. Just be consistent. Be consistent as much as you're able and be honest of what you're able to do financially. Is it clear, everyone? Fine, we'll stop here. There's something else I want to talk about, but we'll speak about that on a later time. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Anything else, anyone? I'm sorry. Tafadlu Zayn.
In regards to the Eid, what if it appeared later on in marriage? Like maybe she had something...
Oh, that doesn't fall into that.
No, it doesn't.
Because she didn't even know. Oh, you talking about something that... I'm sorry. I ain't mean to cut you off. Tafadlu, I'm sorry.
The fiscal nikah.
Uh-huh.
For the Eid, what if, she developed one of these diseases or like later on, it wouldn't apply for the annulment.
No.
Okay.
We're talking about this affair is speaking about something that the person knew and they didn't mention it. It's like almost like they deceived the person or they hid it. They hid it from the person, then they discovered it after the fact or after the marriage contract. If they start developing these things within the marriage, that's something different. That's something different. What I've heard stories, and I've heard these stories, that certain women become sick with ailments. Keep in mind, brothers and sisters, all of us, as long as we're in this dunya, we all want to be treated in a manner of how we want other people to what? Treat us. You don't want to now come into marriage, okay, someone you've been married to for a long time, then they fall into some hard times with their health or what have you, and you just out. I'm out. Khalas. Similar to the men. Similar to the women. Soon as your husband fall on hard times, oh, you having money issues? Woo, gotta go. You understand? Because everybody at some point in their life all fall into what? Hard times financially. Happens to everybody. Things get tight. You want the person that's you're married to what? Be patient with you. Everybody falls into hard times. Everyone. But you'll find that certain people are so superficial. As soon as that difficulty comes, gotta go. Bye-bye, have a good day. And similar to that with men, same thing. With your wife, certain things might happen with her health or what have you. And then as soon as that happens, you're ready to what? You're ready to bounce. I can't do it. Well, she's under chemotherapy. I can't do it, bro. Sorry. Can't do it. Why is she doing having chemotherapy? You cancer? You can't be shit? I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. You understand? Even though a person might say, well, I'm doing what I could do. But just keep in mind, just as you do to people, it could possibly be what? Done to you. Might come in a point in your age, you be 70 or 80. Do you want somebody to help you out with certain things? And they're not there for you. They don't care about you. Why? Then you'll reflect on what you did to the what? The person, how you treated them 20, 30 years ago when they needed your help and you just opted out. I can't, I'm out. Gotta go. You understand?
That might be even worse, right?
Could be. Law might trust you with something worse. Especially when you're in your 80s, 90s. Certain things, you don't have certain affairs or certain faculties within yourself that it's not sharp it used to be. You understand? So always keep in mind, treat people how you want to be what? Treated. Keep that in your mind. And fear Allah to the best of your ability. Nobody's saying now that if you know yourself, you might fall into oppressing a person. Oppressing a person, of course, a person is better for you to honestly or honorably bow out. No doubt. I'm not saying put yourself in an instance where you just totally can't take it. So you're going to beat yourself up or beat the person up and you make them feel uncomfortable. All right, if that's the case, then of course, honorably, whatever you want, bow. And when I say honorably bow, there's a way you can handle and take care of a person even though you might be parting ways. You don't have to just be like, khalas, she's in the hospital, I'm out. Cut your phone off. Cut everything off. That's just being cold. Cut the help off. Everything. I'm done. You done? There's a way you can bow where you can now accommodate the person and help them. Especially if you know you're a person that if you stay in that relationship, you might abuse them or fall into some type of mistreatment. There's a way you can get out the relationship and at the same time still accommodate them. It's all in how you do things, brothers and sisters. But a lot of people think that in order to get out something, they got to turn total cold evil. That's not how you deal with things. That's what Jahiliyyah before you were Muslim taught you. Not Islam. Islam teaches you how to do things honorably and know how to do it in a smooth way and knowing how to do it where you accommodate the person. But at the same time, if you know that you can't handle it and I think I might become abusive or what have you, or my demeanor will change on you, where you'll be sitting in the room and the person don't even want to talk to you no more and all that other nonsense that we do to each other, then just bow out the situation honorably. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone?
قول
كناية. كناية. عن. كناية عن الطلاق. عن. الصريحة. الصريحة means like frank, like clear. الصريحة. ليس رحمة الله وبركاته. الألفاظ الصريحة. Anything else, anyone? Also tomorrow, just excuse me, I've been sick myself for the past couple of weeks. Tafadhal.
I read in the hadith for the Prophet Sallam, as you said that the sister, I guess she had like a defect. Told her she could go home with her parents, back with her parents. He ordered this to get her dowry back.
He ordered her to be given a dowry.
Given it that, oh.
Yeah.
No.
Meaning, of course, keep it.
No.
Keep it. Of course, dowry is for the marriage. But keep the dowry. That the dowry be what? Given to her. Even though nothing had taken place. To preserve her honor.
That's because of the khalwa.
Because of the khalwa. Because of the khalwa. Or, well, next class I'll talk about it more. Or if you want to be an honorable man. Exactly. Be an honorable individual, honorable man. I'm sorry for all that I have to do this. Keep the gift.
Because she has to go back anyway.
Exactly. And she has to go back to her family. So keep the dowry for the trouble. But at the same time, like we said, it's better to do that with a woman than what? To consummate. And then you seen her, now you are also in her personal space, and then you drop her after the fact. You know, like how we do here in America, a lot of us. You'll find that I've heard these situations before. Brother, consummate, then after that, release it. Knowing in the back of your mind you didn't like her. You probably just, in that moment, your desires became strong. Then after the intimacy, khalas, I want to get out of here. Quick. I want this over with. You understand? We've been dealing with these cases for years here. I don't know when it's going to ever stop. Allahu A'lam when it will stop. But all these games that we do, and then we see the result of it right in front of our eyes, brothers and sisters. Now we find hard times where none of us can find good spouses to marry our daughters off to, and no we can find good women to marry our sons off to. This is the result of what our hands go for. You see it now, right in front of us. This is the result. So everybody in their household, I've heard from so many households, families, I can't find nobody out here to marry my daughter off to. I can't even find anybody. Similar to that, even a lot of our sons don't even have the desire to get married. They don't even have it. Like, oh, I'm not doing that. No, I'm sorry. And to just take self-accountability for our mistakes, they've seen the way we conduct between each other in our homes. They see the arguing, the bickering, the nonsense, and the kids are just sitting there looking. Like, I don't want to be like that. I'm good. That's what's waiting for me in marriage? You guys like that? Acting like a bunch of animals within the house? Cursing and hollering and screaming and bickering and no happiness and everybody looking always frustrated and stressed out. I'm cool. Now, every time I talk like this, everybody online gets upset, but it's the reality. Abdul Razak, here we go again. It's the reality. Look at what's going on in our communities. We got to start doing better within our homes. The children want to see the parents happy. There has to be some form of happiness, dad, mom, and dad. Y'all always mad at each other. Y'all always cursing at each other. Y'all always howling and screaming. And everybody's always got a miserable, they're always looking like the whole world's about to be over soon. And the kids are like, oh, you know what? I'm cool. I'm not doing that. Y'all got that. And that's why when they get to a certain age, they don't want to get married. If that's what's waiting for me, I'm cool. So we have to do better in our homes. We have to try to improve. So the next generation, they can have some incentive to want to build families. Because the way it is now, the way we're going, the kids, they cool off us. As they say. As they say. They're cool off us. Especially y'all older, middle-aged. Y'all act like a bunch of grown kids anyway. Why should I respect you? You understand? But this is what I hear from the youth. They say it. They say, man, it seems like the elders, they always immature. They don't know how to deal with matters in a classy way. Be classy. All those things are gone now. respectable and honorable. Arguing got to be done publicly. Got to be public argument, a public display of our business. All the nonsense. And then the youth see it, and then we humiliate each other. And then we regret it, because now, like we said, none of us can find anyone to marry our daughters off to and our sons off to. This is the result of what our hands have put forth. Who's to blame? Us. So, inshallah, we're still living, bi'idhnillah. So I also want to give the bashara instead of nadara. We also give the glad tidings. The glad tidings, brothers and sisters, is we're still living. We still have time to try to repair and start from a new page. Start being better in our homes. Trying to be more positive people in our homes. Knowing how to deal with situations without the kids seeing it. Without seeing the arguing and the screaming and the hollering and the dysfunctional behavior that all of us adopted from when we were not Muslim, that we still can't rid ourselves of, because this is how my dad, your dad was a kafir, actually. This is my dad, this is what he used to. Yeah, your dad was a kafir, wasn't he? Well, this is how my mom used to. Wasn't your mom a kafir too? She did the best she could, but she was wrong. How she dealt with it was over the top. It goes against Islam, you need to change it. It's that simple. But you tell the people this, they still want to continue down. Oh, this is what I know. Well, you need to do better before you mess up somebody else's life. And pass those same issues on to the next generation. So, in our households, and this is a teaching for me and everyone else, show a better example in our household for our children so they can want to get married. That if they see the parents, this, mashallah, alhamdulillah, mom, dad, they seem like they're trying to work it out, they're doing what they can. Mashallah, I look forward to doing it, and pleasing Allah and get married. But like we said, the way we're going, and the stuff that I hear every day, and I keep hearing it every day. As soon as I get off the plane from Umrah, you know what I get? I got a divorce question for you, bro. This is what I get. As soon as I get off of Umrah, I'm just letting you know, this is what I got to deal with. As soon as I get off the plane, got to Philadelphia, I'm going through talaq. I'm going through the mail about to divorce my wife. As soon as I get off the plane, that's what I hear. You understand? Does anyone have any good news to bring? Abdul Razak, such and such. The only good news I heard was the building, the Tosia. That brought pleased to my heart. Ooh, yes, positive news. Other than that, problem. So that's what I'm saying, everyone. Let's be better in our homes, with our marriages, trying to be a little bit more productive in our homes to try to make our homes better. Try to pray with each other more. Try to pray with your wife. Try to pray with your kids. Pray together in your home. Pray Surah Al-Baqarah in your house, because the shayateen are widespread in our homes. A lot of us, the music is going on, a lot of the other nonsense, and the shayateen, it makes it a fertile soil for the shayateen to come in and start messing up things in your house. Start sometimes, pray some dhuhr with your kids, with your wife, pray also with your kids and your wife sometimes. These things help repel the shayateen, and it helps build the love and the affairs within your house better. Is it clear, everyone? We'll stop here, inshallah.
Say about tomorrow.
What's tomorrow? Sunday? Sunday. Don't forget, everyone, tomorrow we'll do Furqan. Don't forget. We'll also resume that, inshallah. We'll stop here, inshallah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam. Subhanaka wa bihamdik, shadu la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.